Hello everyone, and welcome to Friday night at FishEZ. Well, we're waiting for everybody to join. If you are an actual member or a subscriber who likes to watch the replays, please be sure to be so kind as to leave a comment. That always helps. I'm going to put in my microphone. That seems to be of benefit as well while we're waiting for everybody. Let's see if I can do that without dropping the camera. Okay. All right, here we go. Hopefully that's better. We got some sound going, and here we are looking at the nursery. This is the nursery that it's been pretty hectic these past few weeks. Very busy at the same time. Also, lots of design changes that are in the works. Of course, it isn't always so easy to get to them. This is the electric blue rams, a very small batch at the moment. We've only got about 2, 4, 6, 7 fry in here, but they're doing very well. These are platinum angels. They're doing well also. There's another set of angels just down below, and these have just gone free swimming. So this is when we start giving them brine shrimp, but we watch very closely. As soon as the water starts to show that it's degrading, I'm going to take a moment and I'm going to put them into a over the back breeder box. Here is the tank behind. It's a grow out tank that I use. The largest of our red-shouldered gold morph apistogramma McMasteri are growing out there. They're doing very well. There's also some pandurinis. That's not a ram there. That's an apistogramma panduro. Probably, from what I can tell, if you look closely, it looks like there is a black spot near the belly, and it also has some black on the ventral fins, whereas this one has the little guy just shot away. He's got no black on the ventral fins, and the black spot is mostly in the center of the body. That would tell me it's probably a male. That's just the way it is. At this age, it's kind of, I'm not so sure. We're going to find out if that's true, if it comes out true like that. But these are a number of them. Just, it's a small batch that we got, and so they're in the back here also. And then also there are a few that kind of got left behind. The curviceps batch, and the curviceps batch are growing out. I'm trying to get over there so you can see them. They're kind of very camera shy, but they got colors. Those fish, there's one right there. I don't know, I zoom in, the colors kind of went away, but I don't know if you can see that, but see, for a small fish, a dwarf cichlid, the colors on those fish are very nice. And I'm going to have to get back there and do some algae scraping, obviously. Now, here's a batch of red-shouldered golds. Hi, Sandy. There we go, red-shouldered golds. And in this box, they're doing exceptionally well. There's a lot of color in their body, and they're very happy. Now, with apistogrammas in a box, it's important to put some sort of cover. They are a nervous fish. They're not like these angels where they just feel comfortable in groups, and then that's it. But no, they need to have some cover so they can dart into the, in this case, it looks like Subwasser tang. Good evening, Sandy. Good to be here. And I know there's a few of you out there, and we're just kind of looking around at what's happening this week so that before people can join up, there's a couple people that probably are still looking for the live stream. Here is a new set of platinums, angelfish that are now free swimming and doing very well. Rudy, thank you for joining us. Yes, a comet. Curacao. Oh, wow. That is amazing. Awesome. We're glad to have visitors from afar and close by. We are located here in the Toronto area, and we also have many followers in the United States. We also have, these are koi angels, and these guys are growing out very nice, and they're doing very well. There's no deaths, and so when I see a death or maybe a couple of them that didn't make it, I often immediately start checking for bacterial infections, and we'll treat that. And if there's no, and if we can treat that right away, usually it stops any issues. So tonight, I think, of course, we're going to have to get some brine shrimp going. So this is 48 hours from this one. What I do is I stop the flow of air, and then I will unplug let me see, this one's located in the back. You see me, I'm going to reach back there and just kind of unplug it, turn off the air. Let it sit for 5 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and let it drip into this container. Now, I was thinking about this tonight, just kind of thinking about how a lot of people have their own systems, and that's fine. This one I like because this bottle at the bottom has air, and it's ready to go to accept. So I put this air like this, and it has a second hole. The second hole is for the bottle that's above it. We're going to drain into it, right? So I'm going to one-handedly pull out this hose, and what we're going to do is we're going to put that in there. By the way, I hope Steve is able to join us from Shelter Aquatics. I was watching his video tonight, and I wanted to mention it so everybody can jump on that. Here is where it's all set up now, ready to go. So I'm not going to do anything except wait for this to settle. Already the shells have gone to the top, and we've got our brine shrimp ready to go. And we're going to drain that in just a moment. So here we go. Hey, Red Laser, Outside In Aquatics, and Fish Fam Link. Thank you for joining us tonight. We're going to just show you how I can, sometimes I can walk away and forget, so it's always important. I only want that to sit no more than 5 minutes, because otherwise what will happen is without the air and the circulation, the shrimp will kind of bundle down at the bottom and suffocate. So it's just too much. So I'll say, Alexa, set timer for 5 minutes. So in 5 minutes, we'll go ahead and drain that. And I use the timer quite often because it's the most practical way to handle that. Over here, another red-shouldered gold batch. And just to give you an idea, I have also found that the apistogrammas do better when there's some small layer of sand on the bottom. And this is fine gravel, or this is actually black sand. And it gives them something to pick at, something that, and then of course they need to have this hiding spot so that they feel, if I startle them, they go running into this piece of little clunk of Java moss. It gives them security, it makes them feel comfortable. And so here, there's quite a few in here. There's almost 40 some in there. Dublin Creek, good evening. Yes. Thank you for joining us tonight. Now, sometimes if a person might look at this and say, oh, you know, there's a problem in this thing. Look at them all at the surface. Well, I found that this is a habit or trait of many angelfish. Angelfish tend to do this. They're just in mob going up to the surface sometimes. It looks like there's a few that didn't make it. These ones here are not well. Those have to be removed. But oftentimes what happens is the angelfish, when there is a large group of them, they will definitely go to the top and like waiting for food if they're hungry. So we're going to feed them in just a minute. Before I do that, I'll remove the ones that didn't look like they perished. In large groups, there's always a few that don't make it, you know? And because the angelfish are quite well, I want to say they're not inbred so much. Yeah, I guess you could say that. Inbred. They've been domesticated for so long that there is going to be issues along the way. And so many of them, you'll find they have problems with, I think it's when maybe there's too many of them or the like. I think what they'll do is they will basically stunt, or some of them just won't grow. We call them no growers. Hi, Roman. Roman is in the house, and while we're here, Roman, thank you for reminding me. We'll take a look at that beautiful male. In fact, I could see him from here. If you see him up there, I'm going to zoom in. Do you see him over there? He's displaying to the female. That thread fin. There he goes. Look, there's your boy, Roman. He's loving it with the girls. We got him in with 3 females. There's also a couple of female rams in that tank, but they're coming out Monday. But even those females shouldn't be an issue. If I go over there and stick the camera up there, they're gonna like freeze and get scared and everything. But I'm zoomed over there. As you can see, the display of the male is quite amazing. And we've got a mop in there, so we're going to start trying to glean some threadfin rainbows, as you can see there. Yeah, and a couple of electric blue females, which I removed and put in this tank because where they were at, they were not getting enough food. One of the problems I found in a community tank such as this one, this tank here is not so bad. A lot of the fish, the tetras are fast, the barbs are fast, but when you have a slow-moving fish such as and the barbs are super fast, the tetras zooming around. When you throw food in there, you got to be quick if you want to get any, because there's a lot of fish in here. And let me see if I can zoom out. Okay, it doesn't want to zoom out. Come on, there we go. And you got to be quick if you want to get some food. And so what I found is that some of the slower species, like rams, they kind of like they go pick a piece of food and they chew it and they think about it and they swallow it and then they go to the next one. And by the time they've had a mouthful, everyone else has cleaned up shop. So you can't mix. If you're trying to condition up the fish, it's kind of difficult to mix the slower moving. Oh, it's time. Alexa, stop. So let's come over here, take a quick look. Yeah, it's already settled. It's starting to pile up at the bottom. And what we want to do is flow. Now I just open it up and it will flow all the way down and come up here and start filling up this one. Now the air is always blowing. The air is always blowing. So as you can see, it's starting to bubble. So it's going to just fill up here without the shell. So I'm going to end up with the shells up here, and at the bottom we got the regular. So Yeah, so as that fills up, I can walk away now, and we'll come back to that once it's done. It just takes a few minutes, and that's it. But so I was saying, basically, that was happening down below. I had male rummy nose that were not really getting in good condition in this tank down below. So I took all the substrate out. Well, I took the substrate out because what was the problem was there was a bunch of snails that got in that tank. So we're gonna just take out the snails, and the way to do it was to remove the substrate. But I wanted to sort of feed them, and so what I wanted to do is give them a chance. So when I throw in just the fish, these are young. There's some black rams, a few small black rams. There is and a bunch of electric blues that are looking good, and so and a couple. There's only 4 female cherry barbs in here, as you can see. So now when I feed this tank, there's no big barbs going around gobbling up everything. So this is why I did this, is because now I want to feed them. I'll keep cleaning it up, and eventually I'll probably put back some of the black sand, and that will cause the fish to look a lot nicer. Right now with a bare bottom, they don't look so nice because the light bottom is just causes the fish to turn light. And if you want them to be dark, then you've got to be that way. Anyway, here's a barb tank, and in this case, no problem. I throw food in here, everybody races to get them. So you can imagine what it's like. Thanks for joining us, James, at North Aquatics, and we appreciate that. Jeff is on board. Wow. No problem. Glad you were able to listen. We want to hear about your escapades last Friday. So these are female barbs, and this is my tank of females. And so as you can see, when I toss in some food, it's like piranha. So that's the thing. I don't have any fish in here that can't fend for themselves. So they're all going to be darting. Let me just throw a pinch in there. I'll show you what I mean. Let me take, I have some Northfin food. Northfin is a very good food for, I have some Northfin veggie, and I'm going to pop it in here, just a sample, and show you what I mean. Because this stuff doesn't float, it sinks right away, boom. And barbs, it's good for barbs because this is the veggie, but the good thing about the barbs is that the barbs will eat off the bottom. It's not like fish that only eat in the mid-water. There are some fish like that. So I'm going to lift the lid, and I'm going to put it in. Now watch what happens. Oh, already they're excited. But let's watch what happens. When I top it in, the food goes flying down. See that? And what's really nice is that everybody really gets a chance to eat it because they can go for it, you know, and they don't have to worry. I don't worry about the slow pokes, you know. I normally feed them in the mornings, so they have all day to kind of clean up the tank. But right now, this is just an extra little treat. They're probably not that hungry as they would be in the morning. But you can see the tiger barbs are the ones that are really going for it. I have some young longfin rosies in there. And we've got Odessa barbs and some snakeskin barbs. Now the males, so here they are, and in the male tank, as you can see, it's a much more colorful tank. And this tank, there's some black rubies and longfin rosies, neon rosies. We've got Odessa's got color. There's Pentazonas and checkerboard, male checkerboards, and we've got James. These are your pink Petricola. They're doing very fine. They will come out if I feed them. If I throw in some food, they go wild. They will come out. Right now, they like to hang out in their little hide. So I'll go ahead and do that if I can do it one-handed, and you can get a good look at them. This is okay. We'll take some flakes this time. These are just algae flakes, so they go wild and they go crazy for the flakes. These are this is when here they are, the pink Petricola have come out and they're racing away, cleaning up the bottom. Food doesn't last long in this tank, as you can see. Yeah, so it's going to be gone in a matter of a minute or two. And also some of the Petricola, like there's one, you see what it's done? It's learned to eat at the surface, and they go up to the surface at the top and swim upside down. So there he is in the back, goes up, and then he goes across the surface, and here he is over here. You can see him upside down. It's kind of a crazy way to eat, but once you've learned that that's where the food is, he tries to get in there. The rest of them, there's 2 or 3 that do that. The rest of them just hang out at the bottom and clean up the bottom. So I put some dark sand in there to kind of help them from being too skittish, and also this hide. So how are the mascara barbs doing while I'm here? They're looking pretty good. It's hard to get a good shot of them. Yeah, these are mascara barbs. There's a few Odessas in there, and also some cichlids known as, here's one, Macalopinus, Thoriictis, Macalopinus, and there are a couple of them in this tank growing out too. There's a big one right there, good size anyway. Very colorful fish. But I like the schooling fish. I like the Kinsia, Dawkinsia genus, especially. It's just one of my favorites. Over here, just to give an idea, we've got a subocellatus cichlid in the cave. I've been working on trying to drop the pH, see if that will help hatch something. But we've got 3 pair of those going now. So if we come up here to the penthouse tanks, let's take a look. There's a subocellatus pair, I think. Yeah, right here. There's a female. Oh, look, she's colorful. That's the pink belly and the color of what the subocellatus looks like. Well, especially when they're in breeding condition. When a female is showing off her colors, she's got purple and blue. This is the only purple that I've really seen. It's like a bluish purple. I don't see it right now on her, but sometimes I've seen it on the females. Amazing color. She's back there. She's very camera shy, obviously. This pair, of course, our famous apistogramma panderinis are not camera shy. I think that they're always trying to get into the camera, but they're a nice pair. I put some peat, and we're trying to drop the pH right now in this tank because I think the last batch they only had 3 fry. So I've got leaves in there. Those are the leaves of the red oak tree. The red oak tree here in Canada is one that can be used. Let's take a look. Right now we're going to check out the pH in this tank. Looks like it's below 5.4. It'll drop even, just give it a few seconds. But yeah, she's colorful. Oh, she's picking at the plants. I don't see them eating much of the plants, but maybe I didn't feed them yesterday. I've been giving them, I gave the worms to, I collected the worms, that is the grindle worms, for a different reason last night. He's got a lot of blue on him. He's quite attractive. Now notice the black dot in the center of his body is pretty much non-existent. It's just very faint. But as they get older and get their colors, it kind of goes away. But as you can see in the fry, these are their fry. You'd move the light over to see. I don't know. That's going to scare him, isn't it? In the fry, the spot in the center is prominent. And then in the females, it's more in the belly. So you see a couple of them here that have black in the belly area rather than on the side. So these are fun. These have been a very nice fish to have. And our adult flag cichlids are also camera shy. I know they are. When they did have another batch, a second batch, but they had the eggs for a while, and then I don't know if they hatched or didn't hatch or what. I never saw any fry, and then they didn't seem to have anything. So I don't know. The second attempt was a failure by this pair, but the first attempt was a total success. So I don't know. We're just going to keep working with them and seeing. Over on the Pandarini row, we've got pairs. We've got pairs in each one of these tanks. Females in the cave. Maybe she's got some eggs. I don't know. We've been using the peat right here, and we're dropping the pH. It was, last time I measured it, 6.6. I'm sure it's less than that now. I want to get it down below 6. That's the goal anyway. This pair is coming in and out. Oh, there's a fry. This pair has fry. They've come out. Look at that. This is pair number 3, first spawn for them. Oh, how exciting. There you go. There you have it. I see them floating around. How many do we have in here? Oh, wow. They're everywhere. Looks like a good size spawn. That is exciting news. I knew she was going in and out, but the pH, I don't know if the pH was good enough. So when I see this, when I see the fish come out, and I will get a measurement on the pH, it looks like, I know it was 5.4 the other day when I checked it. I didn't write it down, but I know it was 5.4. Wow, there you go. Usually the mom is collecting them and bringing them all together. Let's go get some of that. I'm going to put in some of that baby brine shrimp. Let me go get it. It's over here. It's already poured in to the container at the bottom, so it's very easy now. It's finished. I'm going to take my strainer and just take a nice handful. This will be the first feeding. Now they probably have been eating, because I do put baby brine shrimp in these tanks every day just because of this reason. So I'm going to dip my baby brine shrimp from the strainer. I just strained out some from the tank, and we'll see what happens. Here we go. That's from the batch we just separated. Oh wow, I'm excited. I better put the date here. Let me get my yellow container. I just walked in the door before the live stream, so I was over at the fish house, grow out center, and we were cleaning the tanks, the discus tanks and all. So what I'm going to do is we'll take a measurement, and what we're going to do is we're going to write on there, first of all, the date. So that's important. Well, this is AP3. So this is apistogramma panderini pair number 3. And we'll put 8. And since obviously they're more than 1 day old, I will put maybe yesterday's date or the day before, because that's pretty much when they hatched. Probably even before that, of course. But we'll put 8/6 as the date that they had the spawn, because these are free swimming. That means they've been wigglers for some time, and they're hovering around and hunting. They'll start hunting this baby brine shrimp. So what I'll need to do is keep putting in the baby brine shrimp on a constant basis. By the way, this is I don't know if this might shock you, but this is a 4-gallon tank. It's not very big. So what I do is I got these 4-gallon tanks from Scott in our club, who was shutting down his fish room and he was moving away. So I got them from him, a very unique size, a little smaller than a 5.5 standard. But you don't find 4-gallon tanks much. And what's nice about it is on this top shelf, it's particularly high. It just worked out that way. I thought I wouldn't have tanks up here, but it turns out that I can get on my stool and I can come up to this, what I call the penthouse, and then we're looking at tanks that are just situated. Now, these ones, actually, this tank already had a bunch of leaves in it, because this was the first one that I put in. I put in this tank the leaves and the peat and tried to bring down the pH some time ago. I'm just looking at the female. She's kind of going around. I don't know if she's collecting fry or eating shrimp. I'm not sure. But see, I just noticed there was no leaves in this one, so I just put the leaves in here. They're still floating. Some of them takes about 3 days, and then the leaves will fall down. But it's a very natural looking setup, but it's not for looks. Now she's going in and out of that cave, so I won't be surprised if we don't get some fry out of this pair in the next couple of days too. Oh, and she's in the cave is in tank number 4. Well, actually, this is tank number 8, so I numbered them 4 behind me and 4 across in front of me. This is tank 8, but this is pair number 5, AP5. So we have 5 pairs of the, here, notice the black blotch in his center of his body. Isn't attractive. Remember, pair AP1 didn't have the blotch. It was kind of faded away. It might mean that he's not actually breeding or have fry, whereas this one, it looks like his black splotch is gone. Let's take a look at this one. They do have babies, but his black splotch is it's faded away, but he is very colorful. His fins are gorgeous. And then these guys, this female, when she came, we got her, she already had the messed up dorsal fin, but that didn't stop her. She was the, oh, look at her, she's showing off. See, she's showing her submission. But she's got that dorsal damage. But you know what? That doesn't necessarily mean that it's genetic. So in this case, it was probably in a net. She got ripped, or maybe she got attacked. Maybe she got hit, and somebody damaged her fin. And that happens. And so it's not necessarily genetic. To me, when I look for genetic issues, I'm looking for other kinds of things, like, for example, bent spine. Maybe from a young age, there might be some that have fin issues, but mostly contorted bodies and shapes are wrong, or short body. Those are genetic issues. But in this case, a fin damage isn't necessarily It could be when the fish was young, it got hurt. So we'll see. If these fry are raised, and if there's any that have a problem with the dorsal, then I will know that it is a genetic issue, and I will probably part with the pair, or definitely cull the young ones, so that we don't have that kind of issue. She's look at the way she's behaving. Oh, I'm sorry. You're catching some of the behavior of the apistogramma that we don't normally get to see. Just day in and day out. The fact that there's fry running around, there's a couple fry right underneath her. And this is kind of unusual. Oh, we have some right here. Look, the males are attacking one another. I put a divider, as you can see, it's just a tile that sits between these two tanks. Each tank has a divider that's short. And the reason I do that is because the divider prevents them from seeing each other fully. But as you can see there, they're looking at the other fish on the left, and they're trying to protect their young, but they can only see above the tile. See the tile? So then that gives them confidence. If they're sitting low and the babies are low, they don't feel like the other fish are zooming in to attack and take their babies, their fry, you know. But the reason instead of just blocking it off entirely, is I've noticed that when they have the ability to see other fish and not completely blocked off, what it gives them is the opportunity to display some behavior and aggression towards other fish. In other words, it's now they have something to protect their fry from. Now this pair has already successfully spawned, and this pair already had a smaller batch, but nonetheless they had a batch, and those are the fry we were looking at in the tank with the red-shouldered gold fry that were growing up. So this is great news, because now pair number 3, AP3, I don't know why they're going in order, but they are. It's 1 and then 2 and now 3 are spawned. So maybe 4 will be next. You know, actually looking at them, probably so. Just to relive or go back to why they're numbered that way and how I got the spawns. If you recall, some months ago, we had purchased a group of Panduros, and they were young, but when we looked at them, we thought, we don't know if they're male or females. Where's the females in this group? So it turns out that we purchased all males. And so all males, didn't have any females. So we were very disappointed. I was very disappointed. But thanks to a shop called Tails and Scales, which many of you know about, in Toronto, they had a batch of Panduros, and also mostly females, or they had a lot of females. So in that case, they were willing to sell us all females, so we took 5 females to match with our 5 males. The 6th male, I have one more that's a 6th male, but I will not breed from him because he's got a genetic issue. And I'll show that to you right now, since we were talking about, you know, what is a genetic issue. I'm going to come down here. He's in the, I believe he's right here in the, let's see, where is he? He's in this community tank. He's got a home here, but this is a fish. If you look very closely, you see this, his spine is one that goes kind of curved. He's got like a, there we go. So I'll get him to move over. I'm not getting him in focus though. I don't know if you can see, but he's kind of he's on the short body side. He should be longer, and so that's one indicator. But see how it kind of curves up towards the tail? It kind of like the spine bends up. It's not straight. So when I saw that, I said, no, he's definitely not breed worthy, and so we're not going to breed from him. So he's just he's been what we call shelved, but anyway, the rest of them came out right. Now, here's what I was getting at. I took the 5 females and I put them in this tank, the one we're looking at right now, all 5. Quarantine them the proper quarantine, because you always quarantine your fish. You deworm them, you kind of go through the gamut of what needs to be done. And then when you're ready, you take the 5 females, and I slipped in 1 male. 1 male. He looked at all 5 females, and he started immediately. There were 2 of the females were kind of starting to color up because he was there. And he paired up with one of them. So I grabbed that pair and pull them out. Now I got 4. After they were out, I took another male and threw it in with a 4. Just 1 male. And he went around and showed off his stuff, and females, some of them didn't respond, but eventually one did. And he paired up with the 1. That became pair number 2. And then I put in another male, and then 3. So number 3 did a 3rd pair, and then a 4th pair, and then finally you're down to 1 female, 1 male, and you just put them together and hope that they're in condition. By that point, they kind of are, because you've been feeding them up. And the male had been by himself for a while, and so when he saw the female, it was love at first sight, and you get your 5th pair. But probably the pairs that picked each other and had to pick from a group are probably the best ones. So anyway, that's how I paired them off. I let them pair each one. And this guy, as we're looking at this guy, this is the boy that chose the girl with the mohawk. She's got the dorsal that's kind of messed up. And so you can see it right there. It's kind of like a chunk taken out of it, but that didn't seem to bother him. So he doesn't mind it, and there he is. He's happy with it. So he picked her because I think she was in condition. She was very yellow, bright yellow, in fact. And as we're watching all these fry everywhere, wow, it's great news. So let's take a. And Dad goes over there. He doesn't. He doesn't seem to bother with the fry. I don't see him picking up fry. Only the mom picks up the fry. Let's go ahead and move our meter over. I'm curious. By the way, the tank we were looking at just now, the first one, is now reading 5.5. So that tank is good to go. If they lay, I'm good. 5.5. I'm going to go ahead and I'm putting it in now. So Dad's looking at this meter, and he's saying he's attacking it. Oh, he just attacked Mom. He's looking at this bar here. It's like, what is this? He doesn't realize it's. So we're at 5.3. And what is the ppm? ppm is pretty instantaneous, 70. So it's a good number. So that's why we probably have a fairly decent hatch. Looking at the numbers, there could be as many as 30 or 40 in here, as you can see, because I know there's many you can't see. They're either in the cave, they're in the subwasser tank. But at least looking at it, based on the numbers I do see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I can see about 15 right now, but I think back in the various parts of this tank, you're going to find more. So there's always more than what you think there are. And based on the color, the action of pair number 4, my guess, the way she's going in and out of the cave, she probably has eggs or wigglers. That's my guess. So we're going to see fry in this one too very soon. Very nice. So that's the idea. We started with the Panduros, and we've done several pair now, and we're going to probably go with a different apistogramma and expand into another species. We haven't decided which one. We've already got 2 apistogrammas, the McMasteride red-shouldered gold, and we've got the Panduros. And then we'll probably set up and work on getting a new species for the fish room. Gorgeous fish. And here's pretty much the bottom line, 5'5". So it looks like 5'5". I thought it was 5'3", but you they say, according to the instructions, you swish it around, kind of speed up the process. Yes. So we'll mark 5'5". It looks like 5'6" to 5'5", so it's right in between there. It's jumping back and forth. So then we'll say 5'6". Anything under 6, I'm happy, and 70. So let's write that on the tank. I do that by putting the pH first. So let's put 5. Let's just put 6/70. There we go. And that'll be the record for this pairing. And also, what I do is, let's see, this is the date. It tells me that there was actually a spawn, and the measurements are recorded. And we've got babies. So that's exciting news. I'm excited. I'm stoked up. So thank you very much for joining me for this moment. I'm going to swing around just to show you the... Thank you, Roman, for your contribution to the fish room. Roman was able to provide this male, and we've got 3 females. I have produced quite a few of these rainbow fish from just one pair. So you only need 1 male, 1 female. That's all you actually really need. By the way, this pair over here, I don't know. We're going to see some of the color. Oh, they're so camera shy. When they see the camera, they go hide. But they were just out. He was displaying quite a bit of color too. Here he comes. Yeah, so these are 5.5 gallons on this side because the shelf is lower, so there's enough headroom and to get in and out of the tanks. But you don't have that luxury over here on this side because the shelf is higher, and that's where our Alexa is located. But yeah, these are 4-gallon tanks. And they work out pretty good. Oh, I didn't really finish my thought, but as you can see, there's a cave. I do put a heater, although it probably doesn't come on much. I put leaves and a sponge, and then we're going to put a one of these small corner box filters on each one of these, and then that will hold the pH low, and it's enough for a female to hide if she gets chased by the male. If things don't work out so great, she's going to, well, look at the babies. They always, when they're frightened, they go to the bottom and they just stop and freeze. This is exciting news. New pair, new batch. Okay. There's been a number of you. Thank you for the thumbs up. I haven't been reading. Let's go back and Cat's Cave. What's Alexa? Well, it's something let me answer that one. And Alexa, what are you?
I don't know that.
Alexa is connected with Amazon. And so what you can...
Is automatically connected to any device that's registered to your Amazon account.
Oh, okay. So what it is a verbal command. So let's say we're going to test it out. I've never thought about this, but just for you, Craig, since you asked the question, I'm going to ask the question. It's going to go to the internet, look for the answer, and going to give it me an answer. So here's the question. What I want to know is something. Alexa, where does the apistogramma panduro fish come from?
The apistogramma pandora fish is native to the western Atlantic Ocean, specifically Cuba and the Bahamas.
Okay, you gave me a wrong answer. But I rely on Alexa. What time is it?
The time is 9:02 p.m.
Yeah, 9:02 p.m. So I can trust Alexa on simple things, but in this case, apistogramma panduro, it thought it was some fish in the Atlantic Ocean in the Bahamas. But we all know it's from the Amazon River system. And I've got a few books. It's the Bench Atlas and Cichlid Atlas books to investigate more on these fish and to get more involved into them. So we're going to have maybe in the future an opportunity to look into the publications, and there will be other videos and the like. I hope that answers your question. It's something you get. Yeah, my wife has the same problem as you, Roman. My wife feels like she's listening all the time. So what my wife does is she'll go around, if we're talking about with personal data or information, she'll go around and unplug the Alexas, and I say, there is a button on the top you can just push and it will put it into non-hearing mode. Yeah, Hagen Hill Design. You got a good point. I've had that happen a time when I say, and it depends on if you're listening with earbuds, or if you're listening on a speaker, the word is going, everybody who has one in their home is going to respond to that. It's pretty interesting. It listens to everything and it responds. I can actually, there's an Alexa over at the, never mind. If I just call it the A word, because if I say the word Alexa, she's listening.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
But in fact, here's how I can turn her off. This is the Alexa. Alexa, what is the best ice cream out there?
Are you trying to shop for ice cream?
No,
Okay.
but on the top, I can just turn her off, and now she's red and she can't listen. I can say, Alexa, Alexa, what time is it? Well, mine's not going to respond, but if you have one in your house, it's probably telling you the time right now. So I'll just keep her off for now. So anyways, that's what she's just sitting there. I can communicate with the fish room, actually. I can even drop in and listen to what's going on over there, although I never done that. There's other things you can do. We use it for a lot of things. For example, we have devices. Our pumps are all tied into the Alexa app, and when I'm doing water changes, I will take the end of the hose, and I will go from tank to tank, and I will say, Alexa, water pump on, and it will turn on. I'll say, Alexa, water pump off, and I will turn off. And so it turns things on and off as I go. It's very handy. It's a nice tool. I don't have to go running over. I can also use my phone. It's a tremendous tool. This phone, I can open up the app and turn off my my pumps that way. And so that's what I use. It makes for a very smart, intelligent activation. The Salvini is the shyest fish. I didn't know that. Salvinis, aren't those kind of on the yellowish side with yellow and black cichlid? I've seen those. They had some really nice ones at Fanatics once, very special. A morph that had a lot of red in it, and I didn't get it because I didn't have the ability. Oh, Mayur is here. Thank you so much. Mayor is here. Wow, we're doing great. Carla is here. Wow, I didn't even notice this. Thanks for clicking all the buttons, everyone. It's just wonderful to have. Any other questions? I moved my Bolivians and found fry in the tank. Wow, that's pretty good. That happens, you know. It happens to me all the time. I used to move, when I had my barbs in one tank, I would, you know, a lot of subwasser tang or whatever. And you know they're breeding all the time. And I would move them from one tank to another. And if I didn't put anything back into the tank for a while, I just kind of like let it sit. Next thing you know, you got fry in the tank and they're coming out. And you're like, oh my goodness, look, they spawned while they were in there. And that happens a lot, very easily. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of times when I have tanks that lay fallow, and so there's always fish in there and you don't get to see the baby fry. They don't last long. Aggression, here's a good question. Outside in aquatics, do you worry about aggression issues with a smaller tank? Yes, I do. I worry about it a lot. And I don't like it, you know, the fact that they're small, but I'm just having to utilize them. If I had my preference, I would put each one of those pairs in a 10-gallon. But even still, the key is what I was pointing out. You know, you need hiding spots. And so if a fish is being attacked, it can get behind. And when I see that, I don't just ignore it. So when I see some aggression going on, and I see the males attacking the female, and this is not behavior that's normal, I'll split them up. I'll say that one is in condition, wants to breed, the other one's not. So if that's the case, I'll throw one into this community tank, and then with all the other fish, it kind of forgets about breeding. And then I let the one that needs some time to itself adjust, and being by itself, the fish will then, with proper live food, Daphnia, and I feed Daphnia, and I feed grindle worms and other such things. And so after a while, the fish is waiting for another fish to come along, and it's in condition. So then I put the male, or usually it's the male that's the aggressor, right? And I'll put it back in the tank, and all of a sudden the female is happy to see him. And so that's what you have to do. But you have to watch for that. That is not a bad question. It is a very good one. There are aggression issues, but usually it's when one fish is not in condition. But when they're both in condition and they're both happy and they want to both breed, then as long as they're breeding, they're doing fine. With the Panduros, it's not been an issue. What we have found with the McMasteri is that they lay eggs, they have babies, the babies start eating baby brine shrimp, and then they want to lay eggs again. And then suddenly there's an aggression issue and they kill off all the babies. That's why you see so many babies in my these breeder boxes, is because we've lost more than we've retrieved. And it's all because they just want to breed. They're like breeding like rabbits. Okay, well, so what we found is that when we suspect they want to go back and breed again, that's when it's time to take the babies out. So we siphon them out, put them in a breeder box, and that seems to be working fine. And also you asked outside in aquatics, how many tanks do I have? In this particular nursery room, this is 100 square feet. There are, I counted the other day how many tanks I have to maintain or deal with, and I came up with, there's about, what is that number? Not counting breeder boxes. Just skip the breeder boxes, but tanks, we're looking at 4, 5, 6. $51. So we got about 51 tanks I'm maintaining. So 51 tanks, not counting the breeder boxes. It's actually the breeder boxes that actually take up a lot more of the work, because you're constantly cleaning them out, feeding them. That's just here. So there's about roughly 50 tanks here, and there's smaller tanks. Now at the grow out center, I have 3 days a week. I change water in I change water. Over there we have about 150 tanks total throughout the house, I would say. There's a lot of empty tanks, but not counting those. We have tanks that are actually with water being used. Yeah, so there's over 200 tanks that have to be cared for on a constant basis. And so we're going to be bringing some tanks to the expo. And I might just mention that those who are going to the expo in September 14th and 15th, that's in Mississauga. It's by the airport. And the Pet Expo will be featuring an aquatic. And we're going to have at the expo some really interesting things. We'll have fish. We're going to have rock. J-Rock does stuff. Fries everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us. I think, I don't recall having you with us in times past. So thank you for joining us, J-Rock. First time here, this is a place to learn about paramecium cultures. You got your first one successfully today. Well, that's great. That's super. If you want to talk about paramecium cultures, I have a number of videos on them. Watch those videos. It's the #1 popular video on them. Now, in the case of you, Jeff, I know you got some paramecia. Has your cultures also been doing okay? Are they flourishing? Yeah. I'm just going down looking for questions I missed, perhaps. Thank you for the hint of using small containers to feed from. I don't remember that suggestion, but I think it had to do with the fact that when you open up a big container, it's better to seal it up again and then just feed from a small one so you're not constantly opening up the big one. I think that was what I had mentioned the other day. So Roman, you've never seen the courting display when they start flicking the fins. It's like, ooh, ooh, you know. I'm glad you were able to see that. Yeah, and I just hope the fish I got from you is in good shape and good health and everything. So I'm not doubting for a second that those we'll not get some eggs, and maybe we can get some fry going. They're very slow growing fish and they come out very small. So the paramecia is going to be vital in that case. Our over here on the breeding rack, we've got 2 tanks. One was for the black ruby barbs. The other one was for the checkered barbs, and they both actually successfully bred. In other words, there's fry in the tank, but I'm not happy with the count. It's very low number, very, 2, 3 fry. I'm not very happy at all with that. To me, that's not successful. Although you might get 1 or 2. Maybe some people would be excited about that. Not me. I would expect no less than 50. If I got less than 50, I'm not happy. If I get more than 50, I'm ecstatic. It's like, that's how I feel. Because when you come to an egg scatterer like that, barbs, there really is no exception. There's no excuse, really. You're doing stuff. I'm here. Here's the place to learn about pyramiding cultures. Yes. I got my pistols to breed in a 5-gallon, no aggression issues. Okay, there you go. Then moved to a 10 and constant issues with aggression. Good advice on being in condition and 1 not. Thank you. Yeah, well, that's what aggression is, when you see a fish that isn't responding. So when a fish is aggressive, it's because they want to do something. Did you notice a few minutes ago, you saw some great footage of what the female does if she's in condition and she's working with the male? When he goes to attack her, did you notice that the female bent her body, showed her belly, showed off that black blotch, and then just kind of aimed it at her, and she was like in a curved position like this, and she was kind of doing her thing? That was showing communication, and so I don't worry when I see something like that. It means that they're communicating with one another, and he's showing off, or he wants to do something, and he's seeing her and she's responding. Now, if she hightails it to the back corner, he's going to just chase her. He's going to keep attacking her, and she isn't in tune with him, and therefore she is racing and hiding from him. So the only important thing is then safety in that case. And so in order to bring him around, sometimes you just have to separate him. You could remove the male. What I might, like I said, I would remove the male in that case. In this case, she's got babies, so she's going to stay with the babies. The mothers care for their babies very well. Then when the babies are old enough, maybe I'll take them out. She'll be by herself again, then I can introduce the male again. Same male. I'll put the same male in there. And since they bred before, they're going to breed again. But this time, they'll both be in condition and ready to go. Okay, so yeah, 5-gallon. And then Craig's Catfish Cave says he's been breeding live bears. Yeah, and I was. This is funny because tonight I didn't see Steve from Shelter Aquatics join us tonight. He usually pops in. Now, in Shelter Aquatics, in his video, he makes mention of guppies, and he has guppies in his fish room because they're profitable. And yeah, if you had a tank, and Malik always talks about the guppies also, you can make money with guppies. I don't know how much money you can make, but I've seen the live birth, and if you have a tank of guppies, I guess it's kind of interesting. You put in a few guppies, and a month later you have a ton of guppies, right? It's all kind of interesting. But I guess there's one other aspect that maybe you haven't considered, is that a lot of people go into the boxing and all this work sometimes because there's a challenge involved. So, like for example, in breeding fish, you all like to breed fish. Everybody likes to breed fish. Well, because we like to see the babies, we like to see, wow, we got production. You know, it's great to see them grow. It's wonderful to see a fish go from 2 to 25. But if some people, on the other hand, are really enjoying their fish and it's just a community, and they just have questions about that, I think that's not my audience. I don't think many of you out there are of that sort of people. They're like newcomers to the sport. I think the hobby. I think that a lot of people are, in this case, newcomers to the hobby. They're going to be watching and talking to a certain YouTubers out on West Coast in Seattle type of thing. You know what I mean? But on the other hand, if you got a fish breeding room, and this is maybe where you're picking up little tips and tricks of breeding fish. This is what I enjoy doing, and so that's what I'm sharing my knowledge with everybody. And I like to, and sometimes it's just experience. You know, sometimes I have a lot of mistakes going on, and I've made those mistakes. In this case, we were just talking about why I only got 2 or 3, and I didn't care for it that much. I'm going to show you, I'm going to share with you, I should say, what my thoughts are. This tank, we got only 2 fry, and they're egg scatterers. But I also know that the parents are super young, and they're just now coming into maturity. And I just wanted to see if they were ready. It taught me that they're mature, but they're definitely not ready for the big numbers. This tank, under the breeder box, this is a breeder box, which I'm going to mention in a minute. This underneath was the checker barbs, and it was exactly the same thing. Young pair, barely discernible which is the male and the female. Obviously, I had some issues. I put in a female and a male, and the female just didn't want to do anything. So I replaced her with another female, and then she kind of like downsized, and I thought, well, she laid a bunch of eggs. But it turns out I don't see a lot of fry. I got my flashlight here. I'm looking for fry. There's a lot of little creatures. There's a lot of food in here, I guess, that they could eat if we're eating, but I just don't see a lot of fry. But I did see one the other day, so that tells me that there was a spawning. But part of the problem is when it's not the female. Sometimes it's the male when he's so young, he's a little immature, and it's the male that doesn't know how to drive the female. His drive is not there, and that's because well, yeah, as you know, any animal, when they're too young, they're just juveniles. They can reproduce, but that doesn't mean they know what to do. So they're getting the hang of it. So I suspect if I just hold off for a few weeks and try it again, the pairs are still separated, and I'll throw in the males and the females. We'll give it another try. This box here is a little different scenario. This is from AP1. This is the Panduros, the first pair that already produced a very large batch. And this is the difference, okay? And this is what I suspect. Now, on the first batch, the pH was super low. It was in like 4.5 when they spawned. And they had a huge batch of 40-some fry. In this case, the measurements that were taken, and okay, there's one more measurement I forgot to take, is the temperature. And I need to add that to that tank we marked up the stairs, marked in the penthouse. So it's 25.5 degrees Celsius here. So this was 25.5. And this is why I like Alexa. I can say, Alexa, what's 25.5 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit? And she'll tell me. Of course, I turned her off, didn't I? But notice the pH, and this was also 70 ppm. But there was a very high pH of 6.7. It was not below 6. It was above 6. So what that meant was, in this second batch, only 3 survived. I don't think she laid 3 eggs. She laid a full batch, I'm sure of it. But in the process, if the pH isn't low enough for these kinds of fish, the results are going to be low. So in this case, it was my fault for not getting the watering in the right pH, the right parameters at the time that they were going to breed, you see. So I think sometimes it's the fish and sometimes it's the breeder or the one who's setting up the conditions for breeding. So that is something to think about. So why is such a low turnout? But of course, these are panduros, these are apistogrammas, these are worth it. These 3 little fish, gave them their own breeder box. They're doing fine. They got full bellies right now. Got their little hiding spot. They're doing very well. I was only able to siphon out 3. I only found 3. On the other hand, the egg scatterers, the pH doesn't need to be that low. I had pH just RO water, so it was like 6.5, 6.6 pH with the ppm or parts per million being very low, so it's very soft water. It was probably in the neighborhood of 40 ppm. No problem. You know, they should breed fine. I have no issues. Tiger barbs will give you. But on the other hand, sometimes it's just the pair. I put pairs in and got nothing. So what I really like to do, and this is a luxury. Not everybody has this, but if you don't have it, don't worry about it. But if you got 1, 2, 3, 4 tanks, 1, 2, 3, 4, one after the another. If you've got 4 tanks, set them up and put in a pair here, pair here, pair there, pair. Okay. So if you're breeding something like the barbs, what you can do is put 4 pair together. Of those 4 pair, what happens if every one of those tanks gets 100 fry? Now, I've had Odessas in a 5.5 gallon and I've produced a couple hundred fry. Well, no problem. If you had all those just full of those many fish, you're going to have a very large batch. You're going to be moving them into a bigger tank very soon. You're going to be happy because you've got a lot of fish to fill out the tank and make it worth your while, right? If you get 50 fry from the first one, none, none, and none, well, out of those 4 attempts, you were successful because one of them was successful. So using the 4 tank method or 3 tank method, if you have multiple tank method to increase your probability that you're going to come up with a good number of spawns, it can only be good. And the nice thing is that they're going to be all this from the same day because you set it all up and you put it all together in all those pairs, and you can just mix them as you move them out, put them all together, mix them up, and you might have one tank with a couple hundred fry in it, small fry, of course, and you can grow them out that way, and you don't have to worry about, you're not trying to worry about with pairs. So, Jeff, I need to verify the worms yet. Been busy in the fish room. Okay. Yeah, I do want to find out about the worms, please. I'm very interested. And just so you know, I sent worms to someone else, and they informed me that they got nothing. This is what I did last night. I got them ready. These are another batch. I just took the worms, and I got a new culture going. And this one's, of course, you can see it's full of, I don't know if you can see the worms all over. These are brindle worms. So tomorrow they're going to pick this up and replace the order. So I fully back my cultures and whatnot, and this is good. This will work. So this way I'm going to give him some live cultures. Of course, I don't have to ship him tomorrow because he's going to come collect them. He is more of a local instead of an international sale or purchase. Are there naturally occurring paramecia in green water? Well, there's naturally occurring paramecia. When you say naturally occurring, I'll just say this, okay? Infusoria are the microorganisms that exist in all bodies of water that you're going to find. Now, if I take water from the store that's called distilled water, I look at it, there's no paramecia in that water. It's distilled water. It's like you're not going to find anything in it. If you take water from the bottle company, they've sterilized it. There's no water. There's no paramecia in that water. It's not naturally occurring because it's not in that water. But if you take water from a pond, a lake, a river, no matter how hard you try, you're going to get some little microorganisms in that water. And so if you take anything without sterilizing it, yeah, there's going to be some microorganisms in it. The difference between, and I've explained this before, maybe it would be just wise to mention it again. The difference between infusoria and paramecia is what? Well, every paramecia is part of infusoria, but infusoria is all those living organisms. It's a word we use for all those little tiny microbes that zip around in the water, those single-celled organisms, and we call it infusoria, and all that can be eaten by little baby fry. But a paramecia is a specific one. It is a species that you can order from some laboratory supply houses, and which is where my cultures originally came from, and they can be replicated just by themselves. So yeah, I use tap water, but the tap water has been chlorinated. And so the idea is when you drink water from your tap, the fact that the city chlorinates it, it kills the microorganisms. So you're not going to find infusoria in your tap water. Why? Because there's chlorine in that water. So I've taken dechlorinated, chlorinated water, and I've used that to produce that's the water I use for producing the paramecia. I would not go and get lake water, and the reason why is because I want to keep my paramecia, which is one single species of infusoria, which is one of the larger species, which means that the food is a little bigger. It's not so microscopic. You can actually see them with the naked eye. They're very tiny, but you can see them with the naked eye. And so that's why I have them or use that particular species, and why many people use them. And that's why they're analyzed and studied in laboratories and school laboratories. And so that's why these places produce these cultures, okay? So I'm able to reproduce them in vast numbers and vast amounts, and then I will inundate the tank with the paramecia. Am I inundating it with infusoria? Yes, because that's what paramecia are. It's part of infusoria. But all kinds of infusoria? No, I am not bothering with that, because here's the issue. If you put paramecia with other infusoria, now you've got this checks and balances going on, and they compete with one another. So you could actually put together infusoria packages of different kinds of microorganisms, and in the end, those microorganisms, well, the stronger ones are going to win out, and it may not be the paramecia, it may be the smaller one or something else, or something that maybe it's an unwanted one. There might even be some microbes that might even be somewhat, well, let's just put it this way, not as good for food, fish food, fry food, tiny fry food. So with that in mind, do you really want to use infusoria from a lake, a river, or whatever? Well, you can. And what you've maybe heard many a time is that, oh, I just take my sponge filter and I go and I squeeze it all out and provide all that food. Yes, you could do it that way. If you like to clean out your sponge filters in your tank, and then of course you're trying to get the yeah, your tank will be full of small organisms. Now I have tanks because I have live plants in here. When I took the flashlight a moment ago and looked in this tank for the fry, which I didn't see, turns out that the truth being that I saw all kinds of little creatures, and there's all kinds of little things in there, but I didn't add them. They just came along with the plants. They've been in tanks. They come along. I don't know how they get in there, but maybe from maybe water from another tank from somewhere else, or fish store. Who knows? There's all kinds of ways that little microorganisms get into your tanks, and they're there. Most of them are beneficial. My point is that under controlled circumstances, if I have a tank of fry, I want to be able to pour in a bunch of infusoria because I know exactly when they're hatching. I know exactly when I put the pair together. I know exactly when they should start eating. I know all that exactly, so I want to put in food at exactly the right moment. Now, if you don't have a culture with billions of infusoria already going, I guess I would have to use the sponge method. I guess you could. Others use the micro powders, which are fine. Micro powders in conjunction with the microbes or infusoria is probably the best. When we get into breeding the threadfin rainbows, when I start seeing hatchlings, they hang out at the surface, so the micro powder is very useful because it's food at the surface. But also the paramecia goes to the top, goes up towards the light. They tend to, they're also protactic and go towards the light. So to get them as much food as possible for some time before they can grow. And the trick is getting them to grow, because it's not hard to get rainbow fish and other very small fry hatched, because they seem to hatch on their own. But in the first few days, if they don't get food, they tend to die off. So you might see a lot of hatchlings and get all excited, but then a few days later, there's nothing. And you say, well, what happened? Well, it's 9 times out of 10, it's going to be they starved to death. They didn't find the right small food because their mouths are super tiny. So that was the little rant I went on. I'm sorry about that, all you folks who aren't interested in that. What you asked, is it naturally occurring in green water? And green water is just an algae. I have green water. It's right here. If I were to put this under the microscope, I might find some infusoria. It might be. There might be existing some. There used to be some sea, what we called, I used to have, what were those called? Seed shrimp. I used to have seed shrimp in the same tank but I don't have it anymore. I think I filtered them out. What I would do is I started to, when I was putting back the green water to start over, I would clean out the tank, really clean it out good. I would use one of these filters. This is a 16 micron filter, and then I would put the green water through that, and the green water just goes right through it. So the algae cells for the green water are super, super small. You can't filter it out. It's not like I can just scoop up the green. But all the little seed shrimp and everything else that was in there get caught in here. So I keep doing that over and over until finally I don't see I haven't seen seed shrimp in that culture for, I don't know, maybe a year. But I did have quite a few at one time in the fish room. I haven't seen any lately. Not in a long time. Is there paramecia in there? The answer to that question is there could be, but it's never been out of control, so I've never been able to actually spot it, because it's hard to spot when it's green water. When the water is green, you know, kind of diffuses, and I can't see, like, really. I hope that answers your question, Benjamin Peters. It's not a bad question. It's just a logical question. To me, I feel like Yeah, there probably could be, but I don't think it's really an issue, and I wouldn't really know about it. What I do know is I have not tried, and many people use green water for small fry, and I'm always afraid that if I use green water that I might end up with a green water tank. It takes over, and well, the only way I know to get rid of it after that is to use the drip method. And see, as I've done here, I gave this water change with water that just drips and then overflows in the back. And in other words, you just have to keep doing water changes until the green water is gone. I've done that. I've gotten green water in there. I should try it. Throw in green water, and then after I feel like it's done its job, fish are eating, they're big enough, then maybe at that point I can just start doing drip water changes and just drip, drip, drip until green water is gone. Because I can drip faster than they can grow. That's the only thing you can do to get rid of it. J-Rock makes fancy videos. Oh, I'd like to see some of that. That would be great. I will check that out later. Thank you so much for letting me know. J-Rock does stuff. J-Rock does stuff. Now this is an example of a practical use for this little device. Alexa, make a note.
Okay, what should the note say?
J-Rock does stuff.
You wanted to say J-Rock does stuff, right?
Yes.
Okay, I've saved my note.
Okay, I just made a note. So that's a practical use. Now when I go to my notes, I'll see that and I'll look it up. At that time, I'll be at my computer too. It'll be nice. Everybody's having a good time tonight, huh? Just everybody chit-chatting while I'm talking, and I haven't been checking the chat. Yeah, I hope I was able to answer the question, and that's the important thing, especially if you're just doing water changes in the background on a Friday night and you want to have something, listen to something, maybe catch your attention. That's great. Outside In Aquatic says that apistas or egg scatters excites him more than guppies. And I agree with you. It's you saw those colors, and I think there's a bigger market for apistogrammas than guppies. I mean, you know, right now, as you can see, we've got a lot of apistogrammas in stock, and we're going to be supplying very soon. We'll be publishing or letting you all know on the live stream the special rates. Because you are live stream people, you can come up to us at the and we're going to give you a code, and you're going to be able to get a discount, an automatic discount on top of the great prices. We're going to have some super great prices at the expo. We're going to be trying to move a lot of fish that we have, and we have also something new this year that you might be interested in. Maybe some people would be interested in. I think it's a pet expo, and so a lot of people will be interested in this. They are the axolotl. It's a aquatic salamander, and we've got a number of beautiful colors, and we've got a whole bunch of them. We didn't breed them ourselves. We got them very small, and we've been growing them up, and they're going to be ready for the expo. And so they're going to be offered as pets for those who are going by. Remember, this is a reptile expo as well. So this is the aquatic portion. So we're going to use an aquatic reptile known as the axolotl, and we're going to be making those available. And we have the ones with the green fluorescent protein, which is glow in the dark. It's a amazing feature. You put them under a blue light, and the lizard or axolotl glows, and it's quite interesting. I think young people who are interested in pets will find it to be good. Anyway, I'm going to bring one to the live stream maybe next week or so, and show it off and show you what it's all about. But that's just some of the things. Okay, so yeah, so I like this comment by J Rock Does Stuff. J Rock says that they just started with the premise that the infusoria is in the aquarium already, and that's true. They are in the aquarium. When a fish gets big enough, they don't eat paramecia anymore. You have to be very small to eat it, and when they get bigger, they're looking for bigger food. They're just, it's not a mouthful to sit there and try to pick at the little infusoria in the tank. But water changes keeps the actual population of infusoria from getting out of control. Nevertheless, yes, tanks do have it. So if you start culturing it, even using the method that I have, I might even try that. I don't even know why I wouldn't try that. We'll try that. I'm going to be doing a batch of paramecia again, maybe tonight or tomorrow. So what I'm going to do is, instead of using the starter culture, which is paramecia, I'm going to take some tank water and I'm going to put it into my culture, and we're going to be able to compare. So next Friday, it usually takes 3 weeks for it to maximize. So maybe in 2 weeks, we'll take a look and compare the culture. One is using paramecia starter culture, and one is using the tank water. I'll just use tank water here from the community tank. There's no fry in this one to eat them, but it looks clean and clear, but there's probably paramecia in there. So I'll go down and maybe get a baster full from several places throughout the aquarium, probably amongst the plants, and we'll put it into the bottle just like the other ones, and we're going to see how it turns out. The answer is yes, you can do it that way, but you will be mindful that you won't get just pure paramecia. You will get all kinds of larger and smaller types. So you might even have to see under a microscope to see how your culture comes out. In other words, to see what you really got, what you really have, you might need to really use a microscope. And since I have a microscope, we should probably try that out. I'll take pictures or something. So that's a beautiful test. I like it. We could also squeeze out that might even be a good third container. We'll do 3 containers. One, just start it with 3 basterfuls of, well, we got infusoria, 3 basterfuls of tank water, and then 3 basterfuls of squeezed out water, water from a squeezed out sponge filter. Let's do it that way. And we'll compare the 3 containers together here live on FishEZ on a Friday night. That sounds like a really nice test to do. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, so what you have not found is how to maintain an infusoria culture over time, do's and don'ts. Well, in the case of paramecia, and I'm sure it's not much different, what people think is that they want this standing paramecia. What I suggest is not a standing culture, meaning I have this bottle, I go to it whenever I need paramecia, I get the paramecia out. That's sort of like going to the cupboard, get the box. If any of you are from my era, you know what that means. It goes back a number of years. But if you're willing to restart the culture every 3 weeks, what you would do is start a fresh batch, put the media in, and what we use for media is I'm going to use the same media for all 3. I'm going to use some boiled wheat kernels, red berries, and I'm going to add a small amount of live yeast, and then the starter. So what you would do is, if you had the infusoria culture, every 3 weeks you would start a new bottle, or you could do it every 2 weeks, whatever. And you could then take a baster full of it, only a baster full, and then restart it. So then it has all that media but it's not overcrowded. It hasn't crashed. So what will happen is when you start a infusoria culture, it's going to do exactly what the paramecia do. It's going to go build and build and build and build and build, and it will get so dense there will be no food left for all of them, and it will go bad, putrid, and you'll kill everything. So then it dies out, because in a bottled condition, they don't have a chance. Now in the wild, there's no bottled up condition. They're always getting food. They're always multiplying. They're always being swept away by the river. There's not a situation where they need to be restarted, you see. So it's just naturally occurring, right? But if you have them in a bottle or a container, you know, they're confined. So you take those organisms and then take a small portion, maybe a baster full or two, into a new container with fresh media. They're going to be small, and in 3 weeks, within 2 weeks or so, you're going to have, voila, infusoria all over again. That's what I think will happen, based on my experience with paramecia. I don't see how it would be any different. But a lot of people think they just want to go to a bottle and just unscrew the lid and pour it out and have infusoria on hand. But that's not the way it works. So, which is why people always have to go back and squeeze out more sponge filters. Yes. Yeah, you're always on the replay crew. Thank you so much. Everybody's been good to me. It's going to be oxalotls. Oh. Yeah, oxalotls. You know, that's why I want to bring some pictures and things. Beware, there's going to be some really nice oxalotls. They're an interesting animal. They have an expression on their face. They just look so cute all the time, but you know, they don't. But they're not very communal. If you put them together, they'll eat each other's legs and tail, and you know, they'll eat each other. If they're small enough, they'll just go gulp, and they just give this big suction and swallow another oxalotl. Whatever else, anything that's food, they just go whoop, and they just do this suction thing, and it just gets sucked into their gullet. However, they do have a very special feature, and that is if they lose a limb due to some other oxalotl coming along and sucking it off, which happens, believe it or not, they have the ability to grow another limb. They're like the lizard's tail type of thing, you know, where the tail grows back. But yeah, they do that. They just grow another limb. It's one of the neat things, and why oxalotls are studied, because of their regenerative powers. Yeah, Jeff, we want to hear about your fish room. That'd be awesome. I can't wait to see it. You've been adding shells, and it's thinning out rapidly. They have very soft water. Yeah, that's what happens. So Ichthys Aquatics you have the GFP. Is it the GFP with the wild type, or is it albino? I've got the leucistic GFPs. Oh, awesome. I love it with the black eyes. Yeah. Yeah. Quote unquote contaminated cultures. Yeah, so right. So that's what I'm saying. When you're trying to culture paramecium from the tank water, I don't know how you would do it other than under a microscope, take a syringe, a hypodermic needle, and somehow under the microscope suck out one or two actual paramecia, and because that's what they did. That's how they got a pure culture like I have. In my cultures, I've never looked under the microscope because I never had to, but actually, I don't know if there's any other organisms in there with them. And yeah, so yeah. Oh, thank you for posting, Red Laser, the paramecia link. It's great. I show you how to culture it, and I would try doing that same culture method on your tank paramecia if you want to. If it works, it works. You know, it's like you can also just order it from me. I can ship all over the world. You just go to aquarium.biz, and I do have it there. So we're getting excited for the upcoming expo, which is in a few weeks. It's September 14th and 15th, and we'll see you there. Maybe we can meet in person for many of you. I know that's where I think I met Red Laser there. We met in person, right? IRL, in real life. Foxy's fishes, they're raised all together. It is rare that they eat each other. Well, if they're raised all together and they're the same size, but in our tanks, or as we've had them together, they've been eating each other, and it's when one is a little bigger than the other. And if you have them all the same size, that seems to be when they don't, and probably not overcrowded either, because they can have big batches, lots of eggs. Yeah, Foxy Fishes. Where are you located, Foxy Fishes? Are you in United States, Canada? So you have the wild type GFP. Okay. Yeah, I like those too. I'm going to bring in for showing off. We'll do that in a few weeks. Show off what we have. Show off the merchandise, as it were. We'll do that. Yeah. Okay, and then you're separating them weekly by size. But it's separated, they don't go after each other. Food always, yes. Wisconsin. Okay. Yeah, you're over by Jeff. So you're on the other side of Michigan. Yeah. But we're just Toronto is not actually you're actually north of us. It's quite interesting, you know. Yeah, I have to go north to get to Wisconsin. They do need to be refreshed sooner than wheat berries. Well, yeah, if you need to refresh it weekly, it's just something you do. I have had a lot of people wondering, you know, I've had people complain. It's like, well, I have to do this every 3 weeks. And I think to myself, 3 weeks, once every 3 weeks, that's nothing, you know? There are things I do in the fish room I have to do every day, like feed the grindle worms. Every day, I have to feed the grindle worms. Ties me down a little bit. There are things that just have to be fed. All these fry we were looking at the beginning of the live stream tonight. Yeah, every day, actually twice a day minimum, feeding those fish, and we're going to be doing it right now after we end the stream. Yeah, so it's been nice, everyone. It's already 10 o'clock, and I got to get to feeding these fry, getting them to bed, as it were. So I thank you very much. It's been wonderful having everybody. Looks like we've got 26 thumbs up so far, and hopefully we can get a few more on your way out. It'd be nice. Thank you all for joining. There's a couple of new names here and people who have not been with us before. Some people who haven't seen for a while. Thank you for coming back. And as always, please share what it is that you like about the channel, and share it with other people. So if you post a link to it and everything, and oh, there you go again, another super chat from Major. Wonderful to think of. We really appreciate your support of the channel. That's really nice of you. And as a member, many of you are members. You're members. You know you're a member. I don't know. I can see who the members are because they have a little star next to the name. I don't know if that. I guess that shows up to everybody. I'm not sure in all this stuff, you know. But thank you so much for that super chat. You know, I still haven't heard about your black rams. How are they doing? I do want to hear. So don't forget to keep us informed. I don't mind you posting it. And we have a member for 2 months. Yeah, thank you. You got a special note. It's the member that I still can't pronounce your name. You should give me. I don't know. Your username is like Ocero, or something like that. Is that how you say your name? Is that what it is? You're trying to say it, but yeah, really nice. They only eat bloodworms? Okay, ours eats. We feed bloodworms, and also they do eat very good quality food. Like in this case, they eat the Dr. Baslier pellets, and it doesn't foul the water. Really, it's really good. Yeah, Jeff's been a member for 14 months. You're awesome, Jeff. You've always been there. That's why we really appreciate you being here, being a moderator, and being good. Of course, we never really have good, unruly people on this live stream. We have just serious fish people and fish room fellas that really are. Is it Osario? Osero? You gotta tell me how to say that. Osero. Well, thank you so much. It's great to see the members who've been members for many months, and if you wish to have membership, it's always appreciated. And I haven't posted recently any videos. I got to get a few more out. We'll try to do that soon. But in the meantime, we're starting to gear up for the big expo, and there's a lot to talk about. And I'll try to probably by next week we're going to have some more solid figures. I do know we will have four kinds of angelfish available at the expo. So 4 kinds of angelfish, 4 colors, and so I know that's for sure. We'll also have the axolotls, but we're going to have a whole list. In fact, I will do the whole rundown beforehand, so you know. If you're interested in going, you'll know it's worth it. And we kind of feel like we want to give something back to those who pay to get into the facility, right? So for those of us who are subscribers to our channel, what I would like to do is give you a discount code. So when you go in, you can get the discount code, and that would be awesome, with a discount code. And then, just get more savings, and you get a cheap price, because we're going to have it at the expo. We're going to have some fantastic prices so that we can move a lot of fish. We're breeding a lot of fish, and we'll have them ready. And then, of course, this week, it's amazing how many fish we actually sold last month. I should have counted it up last month, how many actual fish we sell every month. But it's to the stores, I'm talking wholesaling, vast numbers. It's in the thousands of fish every month. But we're going to save some of them really good. Thank you. Yeah, Sandy, of course we know you've been a member for quite some time. Personally, I have no idea why sometimes it pops up and says, oh, you've been a member for 12 months. I don't know if it's an anniversary or something, or what causes that. Looks like it popped up twice, once with Jeff and once with Osero. Yeah, I don't know why it pops up. What causes that to do it? If anybody knows, please do share. But yeah, I know, Sandy, you've been a member since day one, it seems, right? So thank you so much. And I've been hearing reports from Malik. He tells me about your angelfish and how well they're doing, and I'm really glad to hear about that. So yeah, we've got some nice fish. So everyone, thank you very much. Have a great weekend, and we'll be, of course, talking to you soon. As always, share what you have. If you really enjoy this content, subscribe, and if you want to share it with others, let people know, let out the word. It's much appreciated. We're sitting at more than 2,500 subscribers, which just doesn't mean much to me because it's really people who find the content interesting and want to see the videos and want to join us for live streaming. To me, that's great. It means I can spend a couple hours here on a Friday night and not feel my time is wasted. Feel like, okay, we shared something and we got everybody on track, getting excited for the weekend and breeding fish. Go out there and enjoy your fish, and above all, no matter what happens, please keep it real.